So, did you see last week? We missed it in like our show notes and on the pod last week, even though it was a pretty big story. I don't know how we missed it. But did you see like sort of our last effort before the evacuation?
No, I don't think so.
Well, let me tell you about it. Apparently, we were following this dude, and I think a white Honda, white Toyota or something, because we caught him on like satellite images loading up these big like jug type things into his car. And he had gone to like this place that we thought was affiliated with like ISIS-K or some terrorist organization, like a safe house and everything.
Right.
And then going back, right? So on his way somewhere, we hit him with a Hellfire missile on some real Call of Duty shit, right? Just in real life.
Someone hit a 15 kill streak.
Yeah, yeah, literally. And then they hit a 10 kill streak, and they murdered 7 children.
Oh my god!
And get this, the dude that they fucking bombed wasn't the right guy.
I hate them.
He had loaded water jugs into his car, and he was delivering them from his he worked for an NGO that was based in California, that had office in Afghanistan.
Of course.
And he was delivering it back to his neighborhood, which had a water shortage.
Oh, so he was just being nice.
Yeah, he was just being a good guy.
Christ.
And then we murdered him and 9 unrelated civilians, 7 of which were children.
We are actually war criminals.
We entered Afghanistan with war crimes, and we're leaving with war crimes. Crazy, right?
It comes full circle.
Oh god,
we're making ends meet.
Really,
the circle connects at the end.
Really, just bookending our imperialist endeavors over there.
You gotta
just
love
massive tragedy and boosting Taliban recruitment.
Yeah, radicalizing more people.
Literally.
Someone's village just lost 7 children.
Yeah, because the actual guy that really did have bombs in the back of his Toyota, they just mixed up the cars, went away and bombed somewhere.
Bro, how?
Yeah, how do you fuck up that badly?
How do we have the biggest military in the fucking world and we mess up that badly and just kill someone's village leader? A leader in a village.
Yeah, just a random fucking dude.
Yeah.
A literal aid worker who worked for America.
Yeah, an NGO based in America.
Yes.
Anyway.
You're telling me these intelligence agencies couldn't cross-reference anything, make sure to confirm this dude's identity? You know how we found out that it was the wrong dude? How? The New York Times went in and did some investigative reporting.
Jesus Christ.
And all they did was just get security camera footage from the NGO. And we're like, yes, this is him. And just talk to 3 people.
God, how is the New York Times doing a better job at gathering intelligence than the U.S. military?
Our intelligence agencies.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know, bro. This is ridiculous.
Crazy.
It is actually insane that this happens.
No, it's stupid.
This is not an isolated incident.
Okay,
how many times have we killed civilians?
Literally all
Even
the
just
time.
in Afghanistan. Just solely in our affairs in Afghanistan, we've killed so many innocent people.
Yeah. Was the death toll 500,000?
Yeah, and it's been a bibipartisan thing.
Oh, yes, it has. 4 administrations.
Talk about bipartisanship and shit Joe Manchin loves to see.
Speaking of Joe Manchin, we got a packed episode for you guys this week. On that, leaving that somber note and going into some more mild news, some more economic news. Welcome to Head in the Office, episode 11.
That's right. Welcome to your favorite bipartisan podcast, because we give every side a space to talk here, And then we shit on both of them consistently.
Factual.
Welcome back to Head in the Office, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good day listening to the
having a good week, Looking forward to the episode. Here it is.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about. We'll talk about the new tax plan that just dropped from the Democrats in the House. We'll talk about Gavin Newsom's recall election results. We got to talk about AOC at the Met Gala. And then some updates on September, 18th?
Yeah.
Which turned out to be very disappointing.
It was just...
disappointing in the best way.
Yeah, exactly. It did not...
I don't want to get us flagged on YouTube again.
It did not meet expectations, but that's very good. That's very good.
Right, yeah. For good reason. For good reason. But before we get into the episode... Make sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming in. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, on
TikTok.
That's
pretty
hook
much
up
it,
with our
right?
Patreon.
Oh,
maybe one day we'll figure out how to consistently get full video episodes.
And we'll figure out what we actually want to do with the YouTube, whether or not clips or full episodes. We'll get it going.
We'll get there.
If you're one of our patrons, direct message us. Yeah, tell us what you think. Ideas. Literally, feel free to.
Maybe we can get some polls going in there. They can vote on stuff. Democracy.
Facts. Yeah. Oh, of course.
Just a little direct democracy for you guys. Anyways,
exactly.
We do have one 5-star review that we'd like to read off. We said at the beginning of each episode we'd read these off. It's from Jack Esther with the subject line, Doobie Jubies. He says, or they say, sending some positive jubies to two homies with which I wish to smoke doobies.
Wow.
That's a poem.
That's probably the best review that we have ever got or will ever get.
You know what, Jack Esther? I appreciate you.
I really appreciate that, actually.
And thank you for the 5-star review.
That's
and
pretty good.
If you want to have your 5-star review read on the pod, just leave it.
We'll just leave it. Maybe you'll top that one. Probably not, though.
Hey, keep your aspirations high. Maybe you can do it. Maybe you
the
can
bar is set high. Jack
Anyway.
Esther, you're doing great.
Anyways, getting into our news coverage. First, we'll start off with the House Democrats' tax plan. You've heard us talk a lot about the reconciliation bill that's going along with the infrastructure plan that's in Congress. And just a reminder, the reconciliation bill is going to include what Democrats are basically calling like human or social infrastructure.
Yeah.
Things like environmental standards and subsidies, investments in healthcare and the ACA, extending tax credits, maternal leave, and a bunch of other good stuff. Generally good stuff that we support.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see passed. But this bill is poised to being voted on soon, although Joe Manchin has said it's going to take a lot longer. But most people, I think, have set the deadline. I think the deadline for them is actually September 15th. I think they said that they wanted
15th already passed.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, I think what they want to vote on now is the 27th, and Joe Manchin on CNN said not going to happen.
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
We'll get to that.
definitely break that
Anyway, they want to have it done soon. We'll see if it gets done soon. Anyways, this bill is going to be voted on at some point, hopefully in September. And House Democrats have unveiled their tax plan that they will use to raise the money or the funds that they need to pay for everything in the reconciliation bill, which again is, and I've said we shouldn't say the number, but it's $3.5 trillion.
Exactly.
Just keep that in mind.
$3.5 trillion.
So we've got a bit of a list here that we can go through and talk about each tax increase. And some people probably won't care about this that much, but it is pretty important when we're talking about how money is being spent and how the working class is being supported.
Yes, and whether or not the rich are paying their fair share, as well as corporations and other things of the like.
Which, spoiler alert, they're still not going to be.
Yeah, spoiler alert, the plan, it's only a plan right now, keep that in mind, is very lackluster.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of very disappointing,
even
actually.
Before we get into this, like, fully, there's usually this idea in politics that you ask for more than you think you'll get.
Yeah.
Which is really shocking. Because this is as high as they're willing to ask for. So they must be anticipating getting much lower, or just fucking nothing, I guess.
Probably.
Anyways, to start off, we've got a corporate tax increase from 21% to 26.5%, which before the Trump tax cuts in 2017, I think, it was 35%. And Biden was calling for 28%, and Joe Manchin called for 25%.
Yeah, Joe Manchin's calling for a competitive rate of 25%, yet he refused to define, like, necessarily what that means.
So apparently, pre-2016, we weren't competitive.
Yeah, we didn't have a booming economy like
No.
pre-2016. We weren't still like on a tremendous path to recovery from 2008.
Yeah,
you know, none of that was going on.
Apparently, we were not competitive at all. But 25%, 10% lower than the tax rate before Donald Trump. A tax rate that Joe Manchin himself opposed back in 2017 is not competitive anymore. So that's something.
You know, it's not like we're still the world's #1 economic superpower. It's not like we're just dominating everywhere economically except for maybe China.
Yeah. And we'll get into this more in a bit probably, but like corporations are not going to leave the American market just because we tax them more. Are you fucking kidding me?
Where the fuck are they going to go?
We generate the most money out of any country in the world by orders of magnitude.
Yeah.
Especially compared to like any nations that aren't China. Like, and these corporations can't go to China.
The
they
largest,
won't.
like, most wealthiest market other than China.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And if they went to China, if Walmart went up and moved to China, they'd just be nationalized. They're too big.
Bro, Amazon goes to China, they're just the postal service.
Literally. It's way too big.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's fucked. And that's how it should be here. Low-key.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nationalize Amazon,
We're
honestly.
not saying let's be the same as China.
No,
Yeah, we're
not at all.
China.
Not at all. I'm saying nationalize Amazon, though.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fire.
Anyways, we got an increase of the top capital gains tax rate from 20% to 25%.
Which is just kind of stupid. It's the closest thing that we are going to get to a wealth tax.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, most people earn most of their money, like most rich people, multimillionaires, 10 millionaires, 100 millionaires, billionaires, are earning a significant portion of their money within the stock market and taking advantage of things like the low capital gains taxes. But, like, come on. It was 15, 18, and I think 20% before, and now it's just 15, 18, 25.
Yep.
Come on now. That's nothing.
And capital gains is just a fancy way of saying letting your capital snowball or
Yes.
not working.
Yeah,
literally not working.
Capital gains is a fancy way of saying you're making money simply because you had money before.
You're right.
So
Exactly.
that shit, up that shit right now.
Right, exactly.
Biden, it's funny to know, Biden wanted a 40% like top marginal rate within capital gains.
That would be
long-term
crazy.
tax. That'd be pretty cool. Still not enough. That'd be pretty cool though. And Joe Manchin is the one who fucks with 25%. So why are we saying 25% off the jump?
That's what I'm saying. Why are we not going for more and then bargaining down? That's how usually I would think things work if we're trying to be progressive.
But no, because they just recognize that it's just Joe. You just literally have to do what Joe Manchin wants if you want to get anything through here.
And the next one is the top income tax, which is going from, this one disappointed me a lot, 37% to 39.6%, a 2.6% increase, which may not even happen after like debates and negotiations start happening.
Yeah, it probably won't happen. Like, it'd probably be lower to maybe a 1% increase or some shit, even though it's only a tax on the highest earners, anyone making above $400,000 single, like filing like as a single person, and married couples filing jointly making over $450,000.
Right, which if you're making over $400,000 a year, you are already in the top 2%.
Yeah, you're fine.
So
You're
98% of people will not be touched, or
Yeah.
even more than 98% will not be touched by any of these tax increases.
Yes, it's nothing. And even like 99% of people are barely touched.
Right.
Because that 2.9% increase, that's like a couple $1,000s extra.
Yeah, and just to remind you, like if you don't know, taxes work in brackets.
Yeah.
Like there's different scales. It's it's not a flat tax for
A
anybody.
marginal rate.
Right,
Like
exactly.
the only money being taxed is money like at this new rate of 39.6% is money earned past $400,000 for individuals, $450,000 for married couples. You're only losing like a couple extra $1,000 maybe if you're making that much money.
Yep. And the last thing I could find on the Democrat tax plan was a 3% surcharge on any income over $5 million.
So fucking stupid. This one is actually just so weak and so minuscule. Talk about bargaining low.
Wasn't this the one that like Elizabeth Warren was going for, or was that something else?
No, she wants a like flat wealth tax on straight up billionaires, which but also include 100 millionaires and like tens millionaires, you know?
Yeah.
Within a wealth tax, if we're talking it, fucking include millionaires just in there as well too, because that's already a fuck ton of money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fuck that one-time wealth tax, that'd be great, or a yearly wealth tax.
Or a weekly wealth tax.
Or
daily wealth tax.
Compounded daily. If my student loan interest is compounded daily, your wealth tax can also be compounded daily.
That's
Suck
right.
my dick.
That's right.
But other than that, so I crunched a little bit of the numbers on this. This 3% surcharge will only apply to any income gained over $5 million.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So say you make $6 million in a year. The $5 million that you make, 4.5 million of that is going to be taxed at the new 39.6% rate rather than the 37% rate. You lose a couple $1,000s. And then on that extra million, you're taxed the 39.6% plus an additional 3%, which puts you at what? 42.6 or 41.6? Yeah, 39.6, 41.6. 2.6 or no?
12.
Hey, bro, I can't.
42.6.
This is not a math podcast.
Hey,
This
he's
is
a STEM major,
politics
though. Just keep
podcast.
that in mind.
Hey, chill. I took calc a long time ago. So this shit is weak. And it's only an extra $30,000 off any additional million earned. Mm-hmm. And I know you may be thinking, $30,000, that's a lot of money. Because $30,000 is a lot of money to a working class person like you and me. Me and Jeremy, anyone listening to this, anyone who pretty much holds leftist views.
$30,000 spread across the entire American populace?
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, and $30,000 off of $1 million, you still have $970,000.
Yeah.
Well, not like we still have to consider the extra 39.6 you're taking off, which the total like raising like the total tax raise only amounts to losing $56,000 extra dollars for every million.
Yeah.
That's literally a drop in the bucket to these people.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's actually nothing. So in totality, with every extra million that someone earns above $5 million, they're taking home $547,000 take-home additional pay.
Yeah.
Per million. And that alone puts them in the 1%. That additional income puts them in the 1%.
Right. And if you're being, if you feel a little bit lost in translation here because we're throwing around a lot of numbers, just know that the 3% surcharge is basically fucking nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I guess.
But at the same time, it's like politicians protecting capital.
Oh my God, 1,000%. I'm just trying to illustrate that 3% is literally nothing to these people.
Yeah.
But you are going to see people complaining about it. You are going to see, like, and what annoys me the most is you're going to see, like, dudes, like 24-year-old hustle dudes that have, like, 3 drop shipping businesses, even though drop shipping, like, came and went last year, 2 years ago for that matter, just simping for capital because they think one day they're going to be this rich.
You won't.
You won't. I promise you will not. You're going to be a wage slave, chances are.
Just like the rest of us.
Exactly.
So very few people, like an infinitely small number of people will make it out when compared to like the general American population or the world population, and it probably won't be you.
It is time to start advocating for your very best interests.
And it won't be us either, by the way.
Yeah, it's literally not, bro. Stop being a class traitor and advocate to tax the rich.
That's right.
At much higher rates than we're seeing here, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, this 3% is fucking nothing. And I mean, even if we want to talk about taxes as a whole, 50% of government tax revenue comes from income tax and like payroll tax and shit like that. Yeah. Only 7% comes from corporate taxes. Like, if the Democrats even accepting the capitalist framework and accepting this framework that we don't want to tax corporations, if we accepted the 25% corporate tax rate that Joe Manchin wants, we'd only be risking 3%. That's not a lot of revenue lost. Like, I'm telling you right now, that's not a lot of revenue lost. I'm not saying we shouldn't tax corporations. I say tax the fuck out of corporations.
Yeah.
I hate them. Like, especially big corporations. But we need more wealth tax.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's where everybody's getting away with everything.
Look, I already know what you're saying. I already know what the libertarians are saying. Well, they don't actually have all that money in a bank account. They don't have all of their billions in a bank account. It's tied up in assets and stocks and stuff. I know.
Yeah, we know that.
I literally know, but they have basically an infinite access to wealth because their assets mean that they can pay back any line of credit they take out.
Oh, yeah, no, they can take out lines of credit in perpetuity.
Yes.
Like, and just buy whatever the fuck they want.
And they do.
Yeah.
And then they just, like, rob people as they're working for
literally.
them. Literally.
And then
steal from
their
them.
companies are so big and so intertwined within the American economy writ large that they literally cannot fail.
And because if they do, the literal world economy will destroy.
Just crumble. Just, oh my God. Yeah, it would just, I hate it. I hate it so much.
The plan also invests some amount of money. I think I saw like $56 billion into the IRS so that they can actually at least try to track down money from wealthy people, which is like something that has been advocated for a while.
Yeah.
I think Trump may have, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I think Trump gutted some aspects of the IRS so that they couldn't track down wealthy people. And just by the way, if the IRS isn't funded, they have to resort to tracking down the wealth from poor people, middle class people, because they don't have the resources to track down all of the wealth that billionaires make.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to audit somebody's taxes if they are poorer or middle class than it is to hunt down someone who makes, on levels that Jeff Bezos does.
Someone who's poor or middle class simply cannot afford, to fight any of these unjust claims, maybe, and two, someone who's middle or working class just cannot hide their money in offshore bank accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't
they
take
can't
advantage.
Outsource their workers.
Yes, facts. They can't take advantage of the step up in basis and pass on millions of dollars in stocks tax free to their inheritors.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I mean, if you believe in meritocracy or the organization of society that is such that you get what you work for, then inheritance shouldn't exist.
Facts.
It just shouldn't.
And we're not saying that inheritance shouldn't exist, that when your parents pass away, they shouldn't be able to pass you their house or anything. We're saying that the existence of inheritance just spits in the face of the notion of meritocracy.
Yeah.
And you just need to recognize that meritocracy is a lie.
Yeah, and I'm not saying if your parents die, you can't get their clothes or the pictures of them or whatever. Of course you can. The issue is that when millionaires and billionaires pass down enormous amounts of wealth tax-free, then people are just losing out on that money.
Oh, yeah. And let's talk
because
about
the tax is reset.
Exactly. Let's talk about that. That is the step up in basis that I just mentioned. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking, if any of you don't know.
We've been in debates about the step up in basis.
Oh my God, literally. Yeah, I've shit on some people using the step up in basis. But if any of our listeners don't know, essentially say I'm a millionaire. I think I might have explained this a few episodes ago, but we get new listeners all the time, surprisingly. Yeah, I'll run it back. say I have invested $1 in the stock market.
Yeah.
And that $1 grows to $1 million, like over the course of my lifetime. As long as I have that money in stocks, say it ends at $1 million, I die. I have it in my will to pass those stocks on to my kids.
Yep.
If I were to sell that $999,000 gain, I would be paying 20% capital gains tax on it. Now 25. Wow, crazy,
Maybe.
right? Yeah, maybe 25. Probably like 22 if we're being real. I would pay that. But instead, if I pass it on to my kids without selling it, then the basis of the investment would be stepped up to that $1 million mark,
Yep.
and they could sell it just tax-free.
Yeah.
It's how rich people get away with, like, it's just another way
Yeah.
in which rich people
And
dodge taxes.
You know what you may be saying? They're just being smart about their investments.
Shut
Where
the
do you
fuck
think
up.
that money is coming from?
Yeah.
How is that revenue generated?
Oh
It
my
is the
God.
workers that toil endlessly in the factories that increase the revenue that stock has or the profit that stock can
Yeah.
make. And then it's just being sold tax-free when somebody dies.
And them being smart with their money means that I have to pay more money out of my pocket in the future, as Michigan doesn't have enough fucking money to fix their roads.
Yep.
And I'm running over potholes all the time, constantly having to fix my transmission, my wheels, whatever. I'm not a car guy. But anyway, like, the point still stands.
Yeah, exactly. And as the House Democrats announced this plan, and before we get into Manchin's interview, I am shocked that this came from the House, which has typically, or actually does right now, have more progressive members than the Senate has. This looks
yeah.
like a fucking Joe Manchin plan.
It's horrible.
It's
just
bad.
Super. Oh my God. And we'll get into it more when we talk about AOC at the Met Gala. But it is just incredibly disappointing overall.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, any increase is good, but like in the scope of what we could do or what we need,
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
It's just
Like,
dumb.
what did we? I understand why people are so frustrated because we fought so hard in 2020 through all mediums of activism, whether you were like knocking doors, making phone calls, or just advocating to your friends. We worked so hard to get progressives elected just to see this
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
on false promises.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden was promising to be like a hero of the working class, and he's only advocating for like a 28% corporate tax rate.
Yeah, and dude is just walking back on all of those things that he was trying to do,
Yeah.
being that hero of the working class.
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Yep. Anyway, when House Democrats announced this plan to generate all the money for reconciliation, around the same time, Joe Manchin went on CNN, and he said a whole lot of stuff.
He really said a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I don't remember specifically what day the CNN interview was, but he had an interview with Dana Bash, and the topic was really just the budget reconciliation bill and what Joe Manchin's stances are on it. And she pressed him like I've never seen him pressed before.
She was going in on this, dude.
Yeah, no, she was going in. When he was asked about the 3.5 trillion number, Manchin basically says that Chuck Schumer's not going to have his vote if they move forward with a vote on the budget reconciliation at any point. And he also said, "What's the urgency?"
Bro, the urgency is people being evicted from their homes, starving in the streets, people losing their jobs. Also, I'm pretty sure a Washington Post article came out earlier today, Sunday the 19th, for anyone wondering, if you're watching like later when it was posted, not on Patreon, you get access to the episodes early. But anyway, a Washington Post article came out today that was saying that a lot of insurance providers are ending their like free COVID shit.
Yeah.
So people are starting to have to like pay for tests. They're getting footed with huge medical bills because of COVID related reasons, because just a small minority of the population refuses to get vaccinated and just refuses to do anything good.
And by the way, like we talked about a few episodes ago, people's uninsurance benefits are going away.
Oh yeah, they've been gone for like a month now.
Well, yeah, they've been gone for a minute. They're going away. They're drying up. People's bank accounts are, returning to crisis mode. So a lot of people do need help, and the urgency is immense. We're still in a pandemic.
Oh yeah, we still have record high unemployment as well.
Yeah, and he also said that West Virginia is facing a lot of issues with inflation right now, as if West Virginia isn't literally falling apart at the seams.
As if West Virginia isn't the poorest state in the union.
Yeah.
And like he used that later in the interview to say, well, West Virginia needs these. Oh yeah, because he was pressed later on about how progressives in the House are threatening to not vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the traditional hard infrastructure bill.
Roads, bridges, clean air, clean water, that kind of stuff.
And kind of barely even clean air, like green energy provisions too. That was also gutted by Joe.
Oh yeah, clean air to the extent that like you won't die as soon as you breathe in.
Yeah, literally.
Like, that's it, though.
That you don't have to wear like a respirator outside.
Right.
But
Republicans would hate that too, by the way.
yeah. So he was pressed about that, and he said, I just can't stand for that. And then he started like shit talking AOC. Like the whole interview is vaguely misogynistic.
Oh, very.
Like in a way, like he was kind of patronizing Dana. But anyway, like aside from that, he said, no, West Virginians need these roads, bridges, and roads. You know what West Virginians also need? Unemployment insurance, healthcare, universal pre-K, free childcare,
free community college,
shit that you said,
maternal leave,
shit that you said was not infrastructure that we're trying to get into the $3.5 trillion bill.
West Virginia also needs people like him to stop funding the coal industry and destroying their environment
and their lungs.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna get into this later, but Joe Manchin is literally just a coal baron.
I hate this dude.
His
so
whole
much.
family has been dedicated to the coal industry. His son right now runs one of the coal companies that he also protects through his position as a politician that represents West Virginia.
Yes, where his door is open to ExxonMobil every week.
We've talked a lot about how his centrism act is just that. It's an act. It's a performance. But it literally is just a performance to protect the coal industry, big oil, big gas, and really every other mode of gaining capital. Like, he is lying to you. He is not a warrior of the working class. If he was, he would be advocating for the reconciliation package. He would be excited to vote for the reconciliation package, even if he wanted to tone down the kind of big government method that we're using to get the reconciliation package through. He would be supportive of every single provision because it would help every single West Virginian. Everyone.
Speaking of like that and green energy also, and just him shilling as an oil baron, he was pressed about clean energy and shit like that. And so he brought up, do you have the numbers that he said?
No, but I think I vaguely remember them.
Yeah, I don't think they really matter. Anyways, he said in 2000, a certain portion of the energy market was made up of natural gas, certain was oil, and certain was coal. Electric and renewable energy. And he said in 2020, now renewable energy has grown and everywhere else has shrinked. So he used that to say that why would we incentivize companies to switch to green energy now when they're already slowly making that transition? It's because they are slowly making that transition.
No, literally.
And our planet is dying. The ozone is melting. The ocean is becoming acidic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's going to affect areas like West Virginia. It has been for 50 years.
Yes.
All of the pollutants that coal companies in West Virginia have pumped into the air have literally poisoned the residents.
Dude, it's actually ridiculous.
And it's not even as if the U.S. government would be authoritarian in saying we have to transition to green energies, because all we're doing is adding incentives, market incentives, which is a function of the market. So it's not as if we're saying transition to green energy or we're going to destroy your corporation. We're going to unravel it all. We're not saying that. It's literally tax incentives, bro.
Literally it's fucking nothing that progressive even. Yeah. It's working within the capitalist framework to have these companies stop hurting the planet as much as they are, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me just center this acidic oceans for you real quick. For any of my more chemistry inclined listeners out here.
Marine biologist.
Exactly. pH works on a logarithmic scale. That is 1 point increase in pH, say from pH 7 to pH 6, decrease, not increase, would increase the concentration of hydronium ion, which is what makes something acidic. It's extra H+, roaming around within the molecular stew. One decrease in pH increases the concentration of H+ by a power of 10. Take that and expand it across the whole entire ocean, and all of marine life as we know it would die, except for a few species.
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, and that will completely tank the entire fishing industry, which is a source of food, by the way.
And we'll just die because the water will be too acidic.
Oh, yeah, and then we can't drink.
It's just not physiological pH anymore. We're just actually fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay because the market is going there slowly anyway.
Jesus Christ. The market's only moved towards progressive ideology or move towards progressive changes when we fucking force them to.
Because of grassroots organizers, because of boots on the ground organizing, people actually on the ground trying to convince people to make a change.
The market will never necessitate corporations or any business to solve things like climate change, big systemic issues, because the profits are not in solving climate change. The profit is maintaining the status quo and doing whatever makes them the most money. And that is not transitioning to green energy at the moment.
Yes.
But if we make that profitable, then we can even use the capitalist free market to get them to go to green energies, which is what we should do, which is what Joe Manchin doesn't want us to do.
People love to say that corporations will incentivize, not incentivize, they will prioritize long-term gains over short-term gains. clearly not fucking true.
Yeah.
Because the planet dying in the next 100 years, that's a pretty big risk.
Yep.
And they are clearly don't give a fuck. So,
Yeah.
that's
anyway,
fun.
we'll move on to Manchin saying that he wants to tax the rich more. He wants them to pay their fair share.
Yeah.
But he also wants to remain competitive.
Oh.
As if,
yes, competitive in the global marketplace.
like we said before, as if corporations are going to abandon the American market.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They're not going to. And by the way, like, we give more tax breaks to them than most other countries do. Maybe all other countries that they would relocate to. They're not going
Actually,
anywhere.
We don't have manufacturing here anyway.
Right.
All of manufacturing has been shit on.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. It's all outsourced anyway. Capital flight is already happening. And you're telling me that the only way that we can get these corporations to stay is if we just don't tax them anything? I've seen numbers floated around that the corporate tax rate should be 15% because a global minimum, like there are talks for a global minimum being imposed of 15%.
Bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
When I was doing some research, I found some like libertarian economic institutions. Didn't know they were libertarian before I started reading, but I could quickly decipher that they were, and then subsequently confirmed it through some more Google searches.
No, yeah, that is absurd. But then speaking of like a tax rate, Dana Bash went on to say that, well, Democrats have released a tax plan that's going to cover all of the reconciliation bill. It won't raise the national debt.
Yeah.
And Manchin literally just said, I disagree. And he said he wants to keep the competitive tax rate. And he's literally just pontificating. He's not saying anything.
Yeah,
He just doesn't want to tax his friends more.
Endlessly dodge the questions.
Yeah. And then Dana Bash also brought up about how he's like in daily chats with Exxon or weekly chats with Exxon. And he's like, no, I keep my door open for everyone.
He literally said, quote, I keep my door open for everybody, like all the time.
Yeah. And he said also that House progressives that are saying they're not going to pass the bipartisan deal unless they get a reconciliation bill. He said they are playing politics with people's needs, as if he literally is opposing giving poor people better access to health care.
And then didn't Dana say, well, aren't you? Like, don't people say that about you?
Yes.
And then he's like, well, he just couldn't answer the fucking question.
Yeah, no, he literally can't. And in regards to a child tax credit, he said that we are not doing anything needs-based. Like, the child tax credit is going out to people that don't need it.
Yeah.
And he also said that like all the stimulus bills have done that, but they're literally for people's needs.
This dude said in regards to the stimulus bills, he said, everybody knows somebody who said, I don't know why I got this. I don't know anybody who's saying that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, and no one is complaining that they got the stimulus.
Yeah.
Like,
and even like if we're not basing our conversation off like anecdotes, people are benefiting from it regardless of if they're comfortably well off or they're in dire need.
And it's also the fact that it's a stimulus. It's meant to just be spent.
Right. No,
Like,
exactly.
yes.
It's meant to stimulate the economy.
Whenever government programs are implemented on this large of a scale, 350 million people, the population of America, of course some people are going to slip through the cracks. Of course some people are going to get the money that aren't supposed to.
Right.
I would rather people get the money that aren't supposed to than people fucking starve when they don't have to.
That was going to be the point that I was going to make is like, I am okay with some family that makes $120,000 a year getting the full, $250, $400 tax credit, whatever.
Yeah, some shit like
I'm
that.
okay with them getting that as long as poor people are not literally dying because they don't have access to a child tax credit. I am fine with that.
Yeah.
Because I care about human beings, and Joe Manchin does not.
1000%, dude.
Yeah, no, he literally does not care. And then he ended the 15-minute interview ended by Joe Manchin saying that Democrats and Republicans, they just don't talk to each other enough. You don't know each other's children. You don't get coffee or even dinner with each other enough anymore.
You don't know their spouses' names. Very inclusive to say spouses.
Yeah, no,
Good job.
it's like
Good job, Joe.
it's insane that he is saying this because 147 Republicans literally tried to overturn a Democratic election a few months ago.
And it's also
at the beginning of the year.
It's also insane that he's saying this because what was that clip that came out like 3 weeks ago? I can't remember which Republican it was, but he said, you all should be thanking Joe Manchin because he is really furthering our cause as Republicans.
No, yeah, they're using him.
Yeah, they're just making fun of him behind his back. Not even behind his back. Like on national TV, they are making fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, bro, I know their names. Like, I know their kids' names. I get dinner with them. We're chilling. Big chilling.
All in all, Joe Manchin is not a hero of the working class. Don't let him fool you. He's literally just protecting corporate interests, and that's all his family has ever done in West Virginia.
Fucking demon. And if he really cared about the people in West Virginia, he would be for these things like Medicare for all. And he would be for more rehab programs.
Yeah.
He would be centering a lot of his politics around like drug reform, considering that West Virginia in particular, as the poorest state in the union, suffers from a lot of drug abuse and a lot of drug-related crime. time.
Yeah, no, I was literally just about to say their
Like,
drug
come
use
on.
in West Virginia is exponential
It's
compared to the rest of the country.
stupid, and I've never heard him talk about that.
No.
He does not give a fuck about anybody.
Nope. He said his most progressive stance, I remember he said this like in an Axios interview. He said his most progressive stance is that he believes in climate change.
And he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't even if you believe in climate change, then you must believe in what scientists are saying would solve the issue of climate change, or at least get us closer to that. But he doesn't even want to do that. He wants the free market to figure it out.
But no, he did his own research.
This dude is literally just LARPing as a working class hero. He doesn't care about you.
I hate him so much.
And this guy sucks.
Yeah, in conclusion, I hate Joe Manchin.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next topic, we got some results from the Newsom recall election that I think we talked about a little bit last week.
We've been talking about it's been sprinkled in every other week.
We've talked about it before, but all in all, Gavin Newsom is staying the governor, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
and
surprise.
He won by a large amount. He won by like 30 points.
Even I was kind of surprised too. I thought there was going to be low Democrat turnout.
It's not really that he won, but like the no votes won. So his recall lost by 30 points. Anyway, so the recall voting started last Tuesday, and like before the night was over, it was pretty clear what was going to happen. They had like 70% of the votes in, and it was basically like mathematically Larry Elder could not become the governor at that point. It was pretty clear that Newsom was going to remain the governor for the rest of his term, and this really isn't surprising, although we've kind of hyped it up to be. Because the last time California elected a Republican was Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2006.
What is it with them and these movie star Republican governors? I swear, dude.
The last time was in 2006, and Arnold Schwarzenegger also was originally elected, I think, in 2003 because of a recall election. So it's not really as if he won in like a normal style election.
And like 2006 was not that long ago.
No, not at all. No, I mean it's within the last 2 decades. Yeah.
God.
But like I said, Newsom was not recalled, with the no getting 63% of the vote. And even though Larry Elder and the GOP launched a massive campaign against Gavin Newsom, they just couldn't pull it off.
They also claimed election fraud.
Oh, before the results were in.
Yeah. Larry Elder claimed the election was stolen, I swear.
No, I think it was, I don't know how true this is. I saw somewhere, though, that apparently on Larry Elder's campaign website, they accidentally put up a notice that the election may have been stolen like 2 days before voting started.
I believe it.
Somebody can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure something like that happened. And by the way, like Trump was on, I don't know if it was Fox News or like Hannity show, whatever it was. He was on somewhere saying that there's probably going to be election fraud if Gavin Newsom stays the governor.
Dude.
Like they were just prepping for it, but you literally cannot deny a 30-point loss.
No, yeah, that's a huge margin. There's absolutely no margin of error in there.
Yeah, and I can say especially you can't deny a 30-point loss because that is basically the same result that Gavin Newsom won by in 2018, and it's the same result Biden won California by in 2020. So it's not as if it's that different. I mean, there's like a few percent difference here and there, but like it's largely the same result. There's not a fucking chance that there was election fraud.
That's
not
so
even
fucking funny, dude.
Not even a little bit of a chance. And like I said, the maps for Biden in California and Newsom in California for the turnout heat map or whatever were almost identical. Like except there's lower turnout for the recall election, of course, but like it's basically the same.
The grift is just too real.
Yeah.
It's just too fucking real. Oh my God.
And I heard somewhere also, which again, I haven't fact checked this, but apparently the COVID-19 heat map also fits with the yes votes. Like, where there's the highest concentration of COVID-19 cases, there was also the highest concentration of yes votes for the recall.
Dude, it's like they just want to die. It's like they just want COVID. Dude.
Right. They literally want to die.
It's just especially because the whole thing was centered around Gavin Newsom's totalitarian lockdowns, as Brian Kilmeade put it on Fox. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that a lot of these, well, I would assume because of how California is structured, like a lot of the yes votes came from like more rural areas. That's typically how turnout works when it's like Republicans turning out.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that where the COVID heat maps are lining up with yes votes is not like the most densely populated area in California. Yeah. So
it's not LA County.
Right. It's not LA County. Although LA County is getting fucked and has been for the last 2 years. Now. But like, yeah, that's crazy. That's so crazy. But now that Newsom is safe, and California won't have Governor Elder, we want to remind you that first, California needs to fix this recall shit because it's bad.
Oh yeah,
It's really bad.
like you only need. I feel like 500,000 signatures is low.
No, it's 12% of the turnout from the previous election,
Oh my god.
which is strange.
yeah.
Which is really, really strange. And like I think these reforms came from, I don't know if it's a Democratic governor or who it was, but it was trying to kind of instill some amount of direct democracy into California. It came with like a slew of other
I guess.
provisions, like trying to give people more of an ability to like get rid of someone that's bad.
Yeah.
But in the environment that we live in our democracy, people have so little, I don't know, experience with democracy. It's not a part of the workplace. It's not a part of their schools. It's not a part of their daily life, that when they're given an overwhelming amount of democracy, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and it's also just a profound waste of money.
Right.
Elections are very expensive.
Oh, yeah, that's another part. This costs like what? $3 million?
A couple million. Like just
$3 million?
Definitely. Like lowballing it too.
I thought conservatives were fiscally responsible.
Oh god no. Dude, you know how much money they wasted challenging like the presidential election?
Right.
Oh my god.
$3 million just for Larry Elder to fucking lose?
Yes. Yes.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
so fucking stupid.
And I think Larry Elder got like 47% of the yes voters for recall,
damn, that's crazy.
which only amounts to like 20% of the overall vote.
Yeah.
But like,
It's like how many people?
I don't know. I don't know how many voted in the
Damn.
election. Like a million. I don't fucking know.
Okay.
But he would have been, if Gavin Newsom had been recalled, Larry Elder would be the governor with a minority of votes supporting him. Or just a plurality of votes among the recall candidates.
Dude, that's
Like
crazy.
insane. Like it's insane how that works. And also, California does need a new governor. Like get Gavin Newsom
Oh yeah,
out
1000%.
at the regular
It's
election.
just not Larry Elder. It's
Right.
not a dude who wrote a book called like I'm not saying this. This is the title of his book.
No, someone's gonna clip you.
Quote, stupid black people, unquote.
No, bro.
Bro, what the fuck?
Someone's gonna clip that.
Oh no.
And then they're gonna take a clip from last episode where you said more racism coming at you.
Shit.
They're gonna clip those together, and it's gonna be over
I'm
for
gonna
you.
get clip chip. They'll post it on TikTok. It'll blow up even more than like our TikTok. Damn.
Yeah,
It's over for us.
why Gage Cosmonopoulos is bad.
A
A thread. Why he needs to be canceled. But yeah, we need to get Gavin Newsom out of there. When I say we, it's not, we don't even live there. But
Yeah,
getting
facts.
a farther left governor in the bluest part of the country
Oh yeah.
would be a lot better. Although I don't think anyone's gonna be able to.
We
primary
really need to
him.
fix these strongholds like California and New York because
Yeah.
they're just cesspools. I mean, at least over in California, he's not diddling people. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And the third thing I wanted to bring up was that California is like insanely neoliberal.
Oh yeah.
Like you
so
said,
bad.
it's a Democratic stronghold, but they can use that as an excuse to not actually do anything progressive because they know that they won't lose.
Yeah.
And Newsom only perpetuates that. Like California has an insane cost of living, a practically inaccessible housing market. It's literally on fire for half the year.
Massive homeless population.
Rampant poverty, which is like in proportion not as bad as some red states, but when you think about how California is literally the biggest state in the country, and also it has a higher GDP than some
It's
countries
also
do.
the 7th largest economy in the world.
Right.
Like the entire world.
Maybe they should start doing something with their homeless people, the people that are poor in this area, and
Yeah.
like just overall platforming activists and people of color so that they can tell their stories. Like we need to do some actual changes in these Democratic strongholds, or else like we're gonna lose to a Republican at some point.
It's a whole lot of old white people
yeah,
within the Democratic Party within California, and that shit needs to change real quick.
yeah, and they're only perpetuating like the same systems and structures that have been used to oppress people for all of American history.
It's the same patriarchy. It's
Yep.
the same white supremacy.
Yep.
It's the same fucking
Just-
any other shit.
Just with a blue coat of paint.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. Anyways, moving on to some ultimately less important news, but news I thought we should talk about.
Less important news, like within the grand scheme of things, but I feel like news that got more coverage than literally anything else this week.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's just because I'm chronically online, but like shit, my mom was texting me about it. Like random people were talking about it. Shit was crazy.
Yeah. So you probably know what we're talking about. The Met Gala was as of recording a few days ago, but probably about a week ago by the time this goes up, which is basically, if you don't know, just a fashion exhibit for rich people to wear designer clothes.
Celebration of wealth and tax evasion.
Right. That's really all it is. And like a bunch of celebrities attend it and they wear fancy clothes the designers make for them. You
Yeah.
get the idea. And AOC went to the Met Gala. And she was wearing a dress that said "tax the rich," which attracted the attention of like every single Republican on earth.
And just fucking every single like leftist as well,
That-
too.
yeah.
Those motherfuckers were arguing about it as well.
Probably more leftists than Republicans, honestly.
Low-key, and
even
they
though
were-
she was like getting crucified on Fox News. But
Yeah,
whatever.
leftists were definitely more mad about it than Republicans were, obviously, because they don't have conviction.
Yeah, no, AOC got absolutely shit on. Absolutely shit on. And I figured we would go through and just like give our take on it
And we
because
hopped on it a little bit on a TikTok.
because we got to talk about it.
Of course.
It's
It's
news. It's
culturally
newsworthy.
relevant. It happened pretty
Yeah,
recently.
Yeah. Like I said, the Met Gala is really just a place for rich people to show off, and I appreciate AOC getting into that forum to try to spread a progressive message.
Yeah.
But I think that the issue is that wearing a tax the rich dress while like bumping arms with some of the richest people, even if they're just celebrities,
Bad look.
bad look.
Bad look.
Really bad
Very
look.
performative look.
Yeah. And my worry is that it almost infantilizes the anti-capitalist push. Like, I don't want anti-capitalism. And then this is my main concern is I don't want anti-capitalism to purely become an aesthetic.
Yeah, it runs
Because-
adjacent to capitalism rather than being
Right.
antithetical. The Mark Fisher, capitalist realism take.
Right. And I never expected AOC to be some kind of revolutionary.
Oh, God,
like, I didn't
no.
expect her to drum up the bases and, like, get us all revolting against capitalism. I never expected that out
She
of her.
literally works as a congresswoman.
Right. Some people may have expected that out of her. And I think that they did. And that's why a lot of tankies are actually upset about this.
Yeah.
But I never expected her to be that. But I also do not like the idea of anti-capitalism or leftism or whatever creation that you want to think of is being treated as just an idea rather than an actual pursuit.
It's a slogan that you can wear,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. And it started with the tax the rich sweatshirts, which I think kind of go hard, a little bit, not gonna lie. I would probably get one if it didn't say AOC on it.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my broader point that I said on the TikTok. It feels like tax the rich is becoming AOC's own personal brand.
Yeah.
That's what people think of when they hear tax rich. They think AOC rather than holding the rich accountable and making them pay their fair share.
Right.
It's not it doesn't feel like an actionable thing anymore.
Right. And here's how we can defend this, because you have people like Joe Manchin, like we mentioned before, saying that he wants to tax the rich as well. And AOC saying the same thing. Not that that corrupts the idea by any means, but it's that Joe Manchin can agree and not act on it. It is no longer a threat.
Yeah.
It is simply something that you can add to your talking points because it's not actually being done.
And we know that it's no longer a threat because of the tax plan that we just talked about 15 minutes ago that is incredibly lackluster off the jump, and it hasn't even been voted on yet.
Yeah. And it's not like this is AOC's fault. Like, AOC does a lot of good stuff. She's pushed for a green economy, the reconciliation bill, other progressive ideas. It's not as if we hate her or anything like that. But it defangs the movement.
Yeah,
That's
and
what it does.
It feels AOC. I'm sorry, it just feels like something she would do. I feel like this is very on brand for her, pun intended.
Yeah. And part of it was meant to be a performance. It was
Yeah.
meant to generate outrage, and it did.
1,000%. Every single person.
She admitted that the point of doing it was to get people mad.
Yeah.
That's the point. And again, I appreciate her getting into this kind of forum because I think making leftism cool or more appealing to a broader
Very
base
important.
is a very important
Yeah.
thing to pushing us further to the left. But I also think that, like I said, I just really worry that it's going to become more of an aesthetic rather than an actual rallying cry for supporting the working class people. And this isn't even saying that now she's out of touch with working class America.
Yeah.
She's probably not. She was a bartender 3 years ago.
She still does good work in her district.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The tax plan coming out, that doesn't feel good. Also, before we forget, it's important to mention that she didn't pay for her ticket or her dress.
Yeah.
She was sponsored to go by the designer, and New York politicians are often invited anyway.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Just had to get that out of the way so people don't think that she spent a significant portion of her income
Thousands
as
of
a
dollars.
congresswoman
Yeah.
to go to this event just to put on this performance. That's not what happened, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of just the most AOC thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's not for leftists. It's for liberals that love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which you can have your qualms with that. That's fair.
Yeah. And again, she might be for herself an individual, she might be a Marxist.
Yeah.
Or she might be further left than she appears, but she works within the system. Ultimately, she amounts to a democratic socialist or social democrat, however you want to think about it.
She doesn't act on those
Right.
more radical principles.
And a lot of progressive Congress people have been criticized, probably rightfully so, for similar acts. Like
Yeah.
Cori Bush did the sit-in. Oh no, it was
The
the
sitting on
protest
the
for
hills
the
of, like,
eviction
Kathleen-
moratorium.
Yeah, that shit was also
which
corny.
like I appreciated that more than I did the dress thing here.
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
that was an actual protest.
Yeah.
But like
It's more impactful for sure.
ultimately, like it's about the marketing. You know what I mean?
That's what, and I mean, if we want to get into the minutia of it, that's kind of what a protest is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, protests are about getting your message across. Your little 3-person protest about, like, whatever issue it is that you want to draw attention to on the street corner of your bumfuck town
Yeah.
isn't going to bring attention to what you want like you think it is. Something like this is bringing the attention to the issue. It's just we want to go about things in a way that makes it so that it's getting the needed attention and our message cannot be misconstrued.
Yeah. And the reason I bring up Cori Bush is not because like I disagreed with her protest at all. I think she did it with Jamal Bowman. I didn't disagree with her protest at all. The issue I took with it is that it was within their power to do something about the eviction moratorium well before the protest was staged.
Yeah,
The protest was like, 3 days in advance of it, the moratorium lapsing?
Yes.
Like they could have done this before. And I know they're busy, but it's your fucking job.
The protest came out only after it became national news that the moratorium was ending. Yeah. Even though they've been new since they put the moratorium up.
Yeah.
Like,
and
so,
like I am okay with. I'm not really mad overall about AOC being there, but I would have much rather her either be outside with the protesters that were actually protesting,
whole another thing to talk about,
or have gone in there without the dress, something fucking normal, or like not even normal clothes, but just like not the tax the rich dress, and like gets on the speaker and starts saying like, "Hey yo, we're gonna tax all of you more."
That would have been hard.
Yeah.
If she just said "fuck you, everybody," no, but she wanted to hang out with them.
No, exactly. I mean, and they're cool people, you know.
Exactly.
Like
I'd want to hang out with them too. Not gonna lie, like I'd fucking do it.
Celebrities are like some of the most interesting people on the planet. Of course, you're gonna want to be around them, and you'd be lying if you said that you didn't.
Oh, for sure. But no, I do think that it would have been much more powerful if she was supposed to attend the Met, was going to attend in that dress, and when she got there decided, no, I'm going to protest with the people outside.
Yeah.
That is what should have happened. That would have actually been a powerful statement.
Yeah, because the people outside were like being harassed.
They were being
the
brutalized by the police.
Yeah, and that story has gotten no attention.
It's the only attention that it has gotten is within leftist circles that are criticizing AOC, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because honestly, she should have been out there in that dress. She would have got even more attention, and it would have been much more positive attention if she'd have done that.
Much more progressive too.
Could you imagine if she got like arrested in that dress? If she got brutalized by the police out there, like, dude. No,
and I think that her being out there would have reduced the chances that people would be brutalized because she's a public official.
She's a congresswoman.
I don't think she would have got her ass beat by the police.
No, 100% she wouldn't. She's definitely protected.
Yeah.
But like, god damn, dude, it's just kind of
It reminds me of, do you remember that photo from, I think, the Occupy Wall Street movement when there's a bunch of people in the streets doing their sit-in for like however many weeks it was, and above them on the terrace was like a bunch of fucking rich-ass white people just
popping
drinking
champagne.
Popping champagnes. That's kind of what it reminded me of, although AOC isn't like that pro-capitalist.
Yeah.
It just like she was inside with all the rich people having a good time, chatting it up, while she did get like on the interview and like discuss the tax the rich plan and all that kind of stuff. It didn't feel good. You know what I mean? Because regular people are not going to these things.
And let's be real, the interviews didn't get play.
No.
I saw it once on Twitter, and
what got attention was that one picture of her turning around with the tax the rich.
And honestly, I scrolled past the interview too.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what she's gonna say. She's just gonna talk about taxing the rich, and it's not gonna be like toothy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be out taxing like the uber rich and none of the millionaire people out there, even though they should also be taxed.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Ultimately, like, it doesn't really matter.
Oh no.
But in the grand scheme of the progressive leftist movement, I don't want tax the rich to become less than a threat, because it is a threat. It is a threat that we are going to take from you what you took from us.
Yeah, and I don't want these performances to stand in for actual like protest and actual change.
And like AOC's been to plenty of protests. Like she was at a ton of Black Lives Matter protests. She's been at plenty of union strikes that happened in her district. Again, we're not like anti-AOC, but overall anti the progressive movement becoming more of an aesthetic rather than an actual rallying cry.
1000%. And that's a fair criticism of AOC. A lot of her things are simply like aesthetic. Like, not gonna lie, it's the shirts she sells, it's this dress, it's the pictures of her at the border. And I saw somebody like drop her voting record as well, like on Twitter. That shit's not that great. Her foreign policy stuff is kind of Her Israel takes are very bad. They've
progressively gotten better, but they have been not great.
Like, it's kind of like,
And And part of it is the Overton window and how she's constricted by what Congress is actually going to put up to vote on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your votes aren't going to look good if there's nothing good to vote yes on. You know what I mean?
That's facts. And also, we have to consider that within Congress, like, she has no power as an individual.
Right.
It's like the progressive barely have any power.
Yeah.
It's kind of a miracle that they have the power to,
The
like,
squad is what,
stop this
5 or
shit.
6 people?
I think it's like, I want to say 11 people?
11? When did they get so many new people?
I think it's like double digits, maybe. I honestly have no fucking idea.
Are you talking about the squad or the Progressive Caucus?
Oh, I might be talking about the Progressive Caucus. The squad.
That may actually be bigger than... I don't know, but the squad is anywhere between 0 and 15 people.
Yeah,
Let's say
exactly. So working with that, that's what, like...
In the face of 435.
Yeah, that's 7% of the Democratic, like, side of the House anyway. They have no power. They have no bargaining power within Congress.
Yeah. And again, you know, maybe having AOC as kind of this just like publicity media figure to get the ideas out there isn't such of a bad thing. I'm okay with her like going on interviews, even on Fox News, and like dissing on them, dissing on the rich and stuff. But ultimately, we don't want it to boil down to just a performance. We want more than that.
Exactly. And I wish that these things would be coupled by a drastic wealth tax in the planning stages.
Oh, yes.
To work off of that.
Yeah, I wish she would have gone to if she wanted to still go to the Met Gala, go to the Met Gala and be like, yeah, I want a 70% corporate interest tax.
Yeah,
or corporate tax.
She said, I want a 50% surtax on any money over $2 million, like some shit like that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
that'd have people quaking.
And she could have also been at the Met Gala and been like, I am not going to allow rich people to hide their wealth behind art anymore.
Oh my God, that'd have been amazing.
Because that's what the Met Gala is basically all about.
Yeah,
it's just rich people hiding all of their, basically evading taxes behind art.
They say that it's the fundraiser so that the museum can like stay open to the public for free. But like, come on now. How many people are really like, I don't know.
Here's the thing though, is that like, I really appreciate art. I think art is one of the, or like just creative endeavors is the most important thing in a society. That's what makes the culture what it is.
They're going to be the only job soon.
Yeah, that's what makes culture what it is creating, making podcasts, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think we should do everything. We should do everything we can to oppose it. But like capitalism does, it has poisoned that industry as well.
1000%. Yeah.
And regular artists get fucking exploited all the time in the art industry, and they get basically nothing in return, and then these capitalists get to hide all of their taxes behind their art collection.
Yeah, the taxes and art, that little intersection, that shit is crazy. Specifically tax evasion, like within art. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of sums up our AOC take.
Yeah,
ultimately it's probably not going to matter in a week. Probably not going to matter by the time the pod drops.
Overall, it doesn't even really matter right now.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting thing to talk about. And it didn't even matter then. Yeah, we got to get the broader, expanded take out there.
We got to. And, let's end on kind of a happy note almost.
Yeah, kind of. And, like, speaking of things that don't really matter where nothing actually happened, all the Capitol shit actually just a joke.
Yeah.
350 people showed up to the Justice for J6 rally.
Wait, but that's between 300 and 500. I said that last week.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It was estimated that upwards of like 1,000 people were going to be there. And there ended up being more media and police personnel than there were actual protesters.
Good.
Which is, no, for real. Got to keep these motherfuckers in check.
Yeah.
But like, damn, it was kind of just like nothing, which is, it's very good. But you know why that's the most interesting part about the event?
Why?
Because the shit was like plagued with conspiracies about what it actually was. Like, what is it? Various outlets like NBC and the Rolling Stone have reported that lack of attendance is traced back to motherfuckers on various online forums like 4chan, claiming the protest is a Fed operation. Yeah.
Wow.
They said it was going to be a honeypot for like just to get these people arrested, and that the feds were going to egg them on to get them to commit violence.
They were not going to.
Bro, if it's that easy for y'all to commit violence,
right?
Like, one and two, Donald Trump himself even backed up those claims by saying, and I quote, "On Saturday, that's a setup. If people don't show, they'll claim lack of spirit, and if people do show, they'll be harassed. Harassed by who?"
Yeah, no, the police literally opened the gates last time.
Yeah, there were like 3 counter-protesters. Like, counter-protesters, and that's it. And it's like they were just kind of being no, they do deserve to be in prison, actually.
If more people had showed up, they probably would have just been, like, given a fucking tour. They would have been allowed to vandalize that bitch again.
Lauren Bobart would have took them on a secret tour at like 2 a.m.
A little bit of a throwback to, like, what, 9 months ago?
can't believe she did that. But anyway,
And no consequences, by the way.
Oh my god!
Didn't face a single consequence for
know.
that.
Anyway,
Wild.
Why I think that claim is so funny is because everybody damn well knows that intelligence agencies don't give a fuck about right-wing extremism.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It took the federal government around 156 years to recognize the KKK as terrorists.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And we have other white supremacy groups that are just treated as like, oh, they're an interest group.
Proud Boys.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, Proud Boys aren't taking Boogaloo Boys. I'm pretty sure they aren't terrorists.
There's a bunch of them.
What is it? It's like the Three Percenters.
Yeah.
That's literally a militia, but they aren't
literally
recognized as terrorists.
For 4 years, the United States was in a war with a terrorist organization for the Civil War, and we never labeled them as like today. We don't label the Confederates as terrorists mainstream.
Fucking insane, dude. And that's a point that I wanted to get on is that this is all besides the fact that the FBI has like ironically historically acted as a white supremacist organization, a la Fred Hampton's assassination.
Or labeling Nelson Mandela as a terrorist.
Exactly.
In like, what was that, 2000?
Labeling
2001?
MLK as a terrorist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, as early as 2001, Nelson Mandela as a terrorist. But like dudes like Fred Hampton were murdered for starting free lunch programs and fighting for civil rights, whereas vile pieces of shit like David Duke get to run for positions of power, Congress, as late as 2016.
Oh, and Donald Trump can say, was it stand back and stand by?
Yes.
To white supremacist groups.
And Donald Trump can accept an endorsement from David Duke.
Yeah.
And not really face repercussions from that.
Yeah. And
That's
Tucker
wild.
Carlson can get on national TV and literally just be as inflammatory as possible, saying that immigrants are coming to replace you.
Yeah.
Like, these people are fucking insane.
Could you imagine, like, in the 60s, was it Lyndon B. Johnson during civil rights?
Yes.
Yes. If he accepted an endorsement from, like, Malcolm X, not that Malcolm X would ever endorse him.
Yeah.
But,
Or like
like
one of Joe Biden's old friends. Could you imagine?
Dude, literally.
No, but like it took us until 2020 for our Department of Homeland Security to recognize that our greatest domestic terrorist threat was from white supremacists.
Yeah.
That was the first time we actually recognized that. The first time a president said anything about white supremacy was Joe Biden's 2020 inaugural speech.
And it still took them till this year, 2021, to recognize the KKK as a terrorist group.
Yes.
Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
And even though we recognize that, we still treat our issues in like the Middle East as the biggest threat to our safety.
Yeah.
They aren't.
Yes.
The biggest threat to your safety as a degular person in America is white supremacists.
White supremacist people.
Especially if you're a person of color.
I'm pretty sure white supremacists over the course of America have killed more people. No, they literally have. The Confederates were white supremacists.
Right,
yeah. Or even in the modern day, white supremacists have killed more people than fucking terrorism on U.S. grounds.
Yeah. I mean, like the Civil War was the bloodiest American conflict ever.
Yeah.
Like, more Americans died in the Civil War than any other conflict we've ever had.
Actually insane.
Like, how... Oh, my God. It's so infuriating, especially in the scope of, like, all of history, which has been markedly white supremacist. Our entire education system is just completely whitewashed. And we still don't treat white supremacy as if it's a thing that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
We label it as a threat.
We
and
infantilize it.
And then, we infantilize it, and then we still pretend as if Afghanistan or people in Afghanistan pose a threat to us.
And then white supremacists turn around and they sort of project onto like themselves what intelligence organizations actually do to left-wing groups.
Right.
Like,
No, exactly.
They think that they're being infiltrated like left-wing groups are being infiltrated and like broken apart from within. It's actually fucking insane.
I don't know if this is still a conspiracy, but didn't like the FBI kill Martin Luther King?
Yeah, no, I've seen a
Or
bunch,
there's
a bunch
evidence that
about
they were
that.
going
I
to?
think there is some evidence that the FBI had a hand in killing Martin Luther King. That's why I brought up Fred Hampton, because I know like that case is so like clear cut. Like,
Oh no, they did kill Fred
yeah,
Hampton.
they literally did. They worked with the Chicago PD to shoot, I think, over 100 rounds into the apartment.
Yep.
And then they lied and said that the Fred Hampton, the people there, shot first when forensic evidence said, no, the fuck they didn't.
Yeah, and it's not even surprising because like every police apparatus works on a basis of white supremacy.
Yeah.
And it's not individual police officers' fault. Like if you're a fucking cop listening to this, I am not telling you that it's your fault. But what I am saying is that all of the American government has worked on the side of white supremacists, and you are a part of the American government.
Individual police officers are complacent within that.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's why you say there are no good apples.
And police have historically upheld unjust laws that disproportionately target marginalized people while doing very little to fight for reforms.
I don't think any police officers were opposed to stop and frisk. You didn't see the police unions like advocating against that.
Yeah, the police unions literally operate on the side of Capitol.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. That's fucking
it.
it.
They operate on the side of Capitol and the government. Like, they're not for you.
That was another thing that I forgot to mention. We were talking about taxes. I read some figures saying that the largest like government agency like increases with new tax revenue is going to the executive branch. so funding the CIA, the FBI, the police, shit like that.
The Pentagon, literally everything.
Actually fucking stupid.
Oh my god, I cannot stand these people. You know what? Head in the office is going to change that.
yeah, we got it.
We're
really
going to use our platform to make a difference.
Our platform of 77 recurring listeners.
That's right. Hey,
out there.
It keeps increasing though.
That's true. Every week, day, more and more. Tell your friends. Tell your friends about us.
You know, and if you want to help us, become a patron.
Exactly.
Become a patron.
Become a patron. You know, give us 5 stars. We'll read your review.
Yeah, that wraps it up for the episode, I do believe. But before we go, of course, special thanks to our patrons that make this episode possible.
That's right.
We're going to thank Gage's mom, Nikki 9 Lives, TX, Chris the Postman, Luke Harris, and my mom for supporting the show on Patreon. If you want to have your name amongst this elite list, become a patron.
The least lit of the top patrons.
And if you become a patron, maybe one day we'll figure out how to consistently get full video episodes out to you.
Facts. Yeah, no, that's definitely a conversation. Maybe once the first of the month hits and we can buy a camera with some of this money.
Now, even this episode will not be full video because we already lost some footage. But that's okay. That's okay, because we're working on it.
We're really living the leftist experience.
And if you want to help us get a camera, get more patrons.
Tell your friends.
Become a patron.
Tell your friends.
If you're already a patron, talk to more people to get us some more patrons. And look, the money's all going to go back into creation.
No, literally.
Yeah, it's all going to go back into making better content, making it more consumable. You already know.
What we have right now pretty much just pays for gas to like get here every week. So, like coming home from college to get to the studio, which is great. I deeply appreciate that.
Yeah. All of you that are supporting right now, we love you.
Yeah, you are not taken for granted at all.
That's right. Thanks for listening to the show. Bye, y'all.
Later.